Now our time has arrived. Beasts of night and worlds divide. We fight for all that still remains, with hearts alight and courage gained. Our battle now sets forth new days, and o'er arises darkness wanes. And o'er arises darkness wanes.
Gary, thank you so much for introducing the show with that, and a little Van Halen tribute right there at the end. Mr. Eddie Van Halen. He may be the first person I ever heard do any kind of tapping, any finger tapping.
Oh yeah, same here. Blew my tiny mind when I first heard it.
Yeah,
dear heavens.
That is the only bit of eruption I can play, because the rest was too hard.
The rest is too hard. So wait, can you tell us about that song?
Yeah, that song was written by Justin Grulke, J.S. Grulke, writer of Leap of Faith, and it comes from the new book, Frog of War. And I wanted to put music to it, and so that was my take of his lyrics, which I don't know, they had they're like a hopeful song, but it's also kind of a sad song. So that's that.
Yeah. My God, I love that high part. You just like hit that high note. You just go for it. Yeah. Oh man. Wow. I'm speechless. That's Gary Furlong, everybody.
Let's get one more round of applause.
Another round of applause for Gary. Yeah, opening the show for us. We do have a show as usual every 2 weeks, a wonderful show, and we're here to entertain you all, our wonderful fans, listeners, community. Welcome to Soundbooth Theater Live. Yeah,
our audience is always so great.
They are. So vocal. They're always the same like level of intensity and enthusiasm.
Like I noticed that there's a certain consistency.
There's a consistency to them. Yeah. Oh wait, hold on. There is a.
they think it's funny.
Yeah,
I think
very soulful audience.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Gary Simmons recognizes the Bucky shirt.
Oh man.
Well done.
Ah yes.
Justin, you and I stopped at Bucky's.
We stopped at Bucky's.
That's right. Yeah, we stopped there.
Yep.
On our we went to record the "We Could Be Heroes" music. In Austin, Texas. So when we drove back, someone told, I can't remember who it was that told us we have to see Bucky's, and they were right.
It was a Texan, definitely.
Yeah, it's the most insane gas station I've ever seen. It's like
Lots of pumps.
A gas station amusement park.
With the cleanest bathrooms you ever did see in your life.
I never went to the bathrooms.
Ah, man, then you didn't go to Bucky's.
I don't remember the cleanliness, to be honest. But I did remember that the toilet was way too big. It was just way too big. I like everything.
I had to stand in it.
Yeah. So it goes. That was a bathtub, Justin.
So yeah.
Someone's house you shat in.
All right, so what we have news today? Do we already go through news?
No, we haven't gone through news yet. But this just in, Liking and subscribing is
You're
very
Justin.
helpful to us. Hey, this Justin. This Justin. That's it.
What was that?
Like and subscribe.
Okay. Oh, yes. Please like and subscribe. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, or vice versa. Like the channel, subscribe to this video. And yeah, let's talk about what just came out. So we just put Stonehaven in, right? We just pushed it out of the nest.
No, Stonehaven is available.
It's
Stonehaven
available.
Book 7 is available to purchase. The final installment of Stonehaven series.
I'm a little bit sad that the series is ending. But you know, it's good that series have an end. That's one thing that I can't stand, is when a series just doesn't know when to quit and it jumps the shark and no one cares anymore. So Carrie Summers is a tasteful author. She knows how to end a story. Please don't die, Justin. We need you.
Series that don't know when to quit.
Oh, yeah. Yep. So that's over, but you know, on the platform we have Tales of a Northblood coming up when we launch in October on October 30th. Carrie Summers' new series. That's technically a spin-off, but I think it's different enough from the original series that people, you know, you don't even need to read the initial Stonehaven series to get into Tales of a Northblood. It's completely different characters. It's almost like just tangentially related, you know, kind of like the Proxima series from Harmon. You know how like there's all these different stories. They just share a universe, you know, kind of
which
like
I love.
Yeah.
Which I love. Yeah.
So what else did we what did we just submit? Super 7?
We just submitted Super 7, which is the penultimate book of that series, going up to book 8, which is in production right now. Lori or Yvonne Sin is working on that one right now, and
right.
got that. So that's going to be Super 7 will be out very soon in the next few days, hopefully, and then Super's 8 is coming right after.
All right. And I thought there was one more submission. One more. Was there?
Let me take a look. Let me take a look at the schedule. Let's see what do we got.
Maybe I'm wrong.
No, you know what? We've got a lot of projects that are wrapping up right now. Because but they're not going to be launching very well. They're going to be launching soon, but not on Audible, because the platform. They're going to be on the platform.
I like how it's called the platform launch.
It is.
Shouldn't there be things launching off of the platform?
We are launching the platform into space to launch.
We're launching the platform. We turned it upside down. We're launching it.
Yes.
Into space.
Launching the platform. Are you sure we're doing this right?
You know what? We're trying new things. Launching the platform is just a new approach to reality. And we are the brave individuals at the forefront of this experiment. So,
small step.
Yeah, we've been reviewing Earth Force and Deep Madness. Oh my God, guys, Deep Madness is gonna be so good.
I cannot wait to listen to it.
The title does not disappoint. The madness is very deep in that book.
Oh yeah.
Dimension Games is also launching a new Kickstarter next week. If you guys didn't know, Dimension Games is the company that we're partnering with to start doing audio for their audio dramas. They have books written around their board games. They live on Kickstarter, and they're just having tremendous success right now. And their newest game, Twisted Fables, is a deck builder game that they sent me like way ahead of time. Like the Kickstarter hasn't even launched. I've been playing this game for a couple weeks. It's amazing. I'm really excited for it. But their Kickstarter is launching next week, so watch out for that. But Deep Madness, it might be our finest audio work yet. It's intensely good. Yeah, so, guys, there's just that platform when it launches is going to blow your minds. So don't forget to keep an ear out. Go ahead and go to our website. Sign up for our newsletter if you want to make sure you know when it's out.
We finished a spooky book up this month as well, did we not?
Spooky the Dracula?
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Dracula is on its way. The music needs to be finished, and there's going to be like this much sound effects in it. I don't, it's actually
just a little
sprinkling.
I think it's going to be, even more creepy without sound effects in a lot of these places. But there's just parts that we have to do. We have to do sound effects because they would just be so wonderful. But yeah, I think that's about all the news we have. Next, we have one more thing. 2 weeks from now, another SBTL. Fingers crossed, maybe we can get Blaze Corvin on the show for an interview.
Blaze Corvin, author of...
Yeah, I might have to bribe him with a knife, but we shall see.
Old knife bribe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
but
Delvers LLC.
we are producing Surviving Ludus, the anthology that I think it came out last year. And by the way, everyone, please send out positive vibes for Raymond Johnson. He was supposed to be on the show today, but he just wasn't feeling well. He hasn't been feeling well for a while, and I know he's gone through some procedures, and we're all rooting for him to get better and kick this illness in the ass and get back to reviewing audiobooks for everybody. So Ray, we're thinking about you, buddy. Yeah. That's all the news. So, what's happening today, Justin?
Well, today we've got a number of things for you at home. I believe we are going to have a Ramon segment in a little bit. We're still waiting to hear on whether Ramon is going to be here, but I have reason to believe he will, so stay tuned for that. After that, we have the author of Leap of Faith and Frog of War, both titles coming to the platform, produced by Mr. Gary Furlong himself. And the author, of course, is Justin Grulke. He's going to be here talking about Leap of Faith, Frog of War, why you're going to want to take a listen, a little bit about the story, and we got a sample for you to hear a bit of what those books are like. Of course, we got requests only. Request poll, which today is going to be Mixed Martial Cultivator Round 1 by Austin Beck. A title that I don't know much about. I don't think I've this will be my introduction to this title.
Did we have a taste of it already, that writing? Or have we not? Anyway, it'll be fun.
Blaze is watching us. Blaze is watching. He's like, do I want to be on this fucking show? I don't know. Let's see what this is.
It's pretty rock and roll.
Let's try and convince him. Let's put on a good show. Come on, guys. We can do this.
Right. Yeah. Now, like and subscribe. Feathers.
Okay. Justin Grulke's coming on. Oh, Lavelle Jackson is Austin Beck.
Oh.
Okay.
Lavelle Jackson is Austin Beck.
I mean, that's not how you usually do secret identities.
Is this like I am Spartacus moment? Are we just gonna get a bunch of comments saying I am Austin Beck? I am Austin Beck.
Yeah, I hope so. That would be a fun theme for the show. And then we're gonna play some games. We're gonna play.
That's right. Yeah. We got Gary Games. Today it's Gary Games.
Games plus Gary equals Games Gary.
Games Gary.
Yeah, exactly. So we're gonna do one of those today.
Ooh. You know what? In 2 weeks, it's going to be the 22nd, which is going to be our last SBTL before Halloween. I think we've got to do a spooky SBTL 100%. And Gary's Games, I think for that week should be Scary's Games.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
All these interesting ideas that we have. We're pioneers.
Scary's Games.
Scary's Games.
All right.
Yeah.
Should we move on? Should we get to this thing?
Well, I think we're stalling for time, Jeff.
Oh,
we're
stalling. Are we vamping?
Maybe. I mean, is Justin not here?
No. Justin's here. We can move on with that. I'm just following the
I see.
Crew notes in the private chat.
Okay.
Okay,
he's
Blaze
coming.
Corvin wants to be on this show.
Ramon is he's putting on makeup, is what's happening.
Yes.
And he didn't want anybody to know. He was embarrassed about it. But since it's been taking so long, we can't lie to the public anymore. The thing is, Ramon's getting up there in age. You know, he needs the makeup now. He needs it. And you know, he looks like 27 now. So he needs to like bring it all the way down to about 18, you know, like we all know that's why you guys watch his show, because you're just marveling at how young he looks. Yes. And he's losing that. And it's unfortunate.
Aren't we all though? I mean, we can talk. Let's get into existential dread, shall we? Or maybe. Not. Let's not. Maybe. is that the tone of this show?
Just want to bring things down a bit.
Oh, Blaze's makeup is on point. You're a new palette. Well, you just got a new palette. New palette. Well, you've got to come on now. We got to see this, Blaze.
We got to see your makeup. We got to see your clown show.
It looks like J.S. Grolke may be ready.
Okay.
Ooh, all
right. So we're gonna do J.S. Grolke first, because his makeup is done.
Wow. I'm no Ramon. Yeah.
The makeup is on point.
Sorry, everyone.
Right. Sorry to disappoint.
Well, Justin, thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, of course. No, thanks for having me.
All right. So, Gary, I think you might maybe you can run this interview, since this is your man here.
So, Leap of Faith is like, when I first read this story, I was very interested as to why frogs and where that came from, why that was the choice.
So like a lot of people in the genre, or that a lot of different readers, was a big fan of Chrono Trigger, and big fan of Battletoads, and you know, so I played those games a ton growing up, and then I actually I think I was still like just right out of college, and I used to have like a whole terrarium set up of with White's tree frogs. They're also known as dumpy tree frogs, or the fat little guys. I wasn't any good at keeping them.
They escaped,
but no. So I bought this. So I bought this. No, so I got this this cool like waterfall, and it like misted, and it did all this shit, and like I had the whole setup. It looked awesome, and it had the mister inside of it. It basically fries or burns off water, so that's where the mist comes from. Well, the frogs would get in there, and I didn't know what was happening, and so I was frying them. They were dying. So I was like, oh shit. So it was like 3 of them that I knocked off, and I moved away from the frogs. But I used to raise like green anoles and just little things that I had no business keeping, because like the only animal I can keep alive is a dog, basically. So and
it's much harder to fry a dog.
Yes, yeah, you'd be surprised.
Dude, stop.
Well, we do actually have a clip from Leap of Faith. Before we get too much into the did I fix? Okay, yeah. Before we get too into it, shall I play this clip?
Yeah,
please.
Absolutely.
Do it.
Okay, all right, here we go. Hopefully you can hear this. This is a Leap of Faith. Once my media player starts working. Come on, you can do it.
Expecting her to hop away, he moved to the side. She met Henry's gaze instead, tears filling her glistening eyes.
Please hurry. They're so young.
Ott stepped forward. How many savages are there?
At least 8 of them. Disgusting creatures.
She shuddered with horror.
Especially their leader. He is pure evil.
Henry looked back down the path before turning to the former captive. How far away? Are we close?
Not far. Please, we need to get the chief.
She glanced back one last time and began running toward Mirai. Ott slung his bag over his shoulder and ran after her, totems clanking as he hurried down the road. Turning back, he gestured to Henry to follow. "Come on! We need to talk to her and get more information before we go any farther." Henry cut off Ott with a wave. "We don't have time to sit around in a big circle deciding what to do. Didn't you hear what she said? They're killing children. We have to go now."
Yes, killing children. We have to go.
Yeah.
All right, let's stop the sample once we get to the children killing.
All right. Yeah, that's probably a good place to stop.
What was that accent, Gary?
Which one?
The second to last person to talk. Ott, yeah.
The kobold? Sort of a German accent.
Of course, if it's a lizard, he's going to be German.
Why not?
Duh.
Yeah, Ott's an interesting one. I really like him. I was going to ask, so when we were like prepping this book, you were very specific on first of all, you were one of the very few authors that I've encountered that gives a ton of information as to the background of each character, how you want them to sound, how you see them in your head, and even like illustrations at one point, which is very much appreciated when creating an audio. Because the Brug themselves, the frog people, you decided to make them kind of Irishy. Like, what inspired that choice? And did you have like a very clear image of all the races in your head, like badgers and?
Yeah, it was more of like it was kind of more of just, as I started writing them, and whenever I write just in general, I kind of just assign a voice to them in my head, and I just roll with that kind of the whole way through the story. And so, you write and I spend so much time, writing and rewriting and editing and everything else. And you become these characters, and that's just, the picture just becomes clear in my head after, going over it and over it and over it again. Eventually it's just, that's who they are, So as far as how I picked the Irish, that's what I, kind of envisioned, just the little clans of these, these frog people, and just kind of sheltered from the rest of the world, and, just kind of in their own little community, and just, I don't know. It's just kind of what popped in my head, I guess.
Yeah. A lot like Irish people.
Right. Yeah. Your own little world.
That is why we chose Gary to narrate this, by the way. We knew that you wanted Irish frogs. We were like, they got to be authentic Irish frogs.
I have tried to write a book before, and I can't sit down for 2 seconds without thinking, or you write a paragraph and think, nah, sucks, can't do it. How do you get past that, and what do you do when that happens? This is advice at this point.
So I just, I force myself to just write through it, and it's, when I first started writing, it was all over the place, and it's still all over the place. But instead of getting hung up on it, like I did my first couple books that I wrote, I'm able to just, what I do normally is writing sprints. And so I'll set 30 minutes and force myself to write for that 30 minutes. And I have a word goal. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but I use For the Words a lot. So it's like an RPG game for writing. So you have little monsters you got to battle, and you have a certain time limit to battle them in and everything else. But so I find that if you just force yourself over that hump and you just go with it, the words start coming, and it's when you step back and all of a sudden you start overanalyzing, and you get in your head, and it's just, you can spiral real quick. Doing that. It's still, when I still hear my writing, I'm like, oh God, I should have written that different, or, like anything. It's just, but I think authors in general probably do that. It's never, I think a lot of us are perfectionists.
I've come across
There's
these
always
terms.
work to do.
Was a planner and pantser. So someone who either plans the shit out of it or just sits down and goes. Which one of those fields do you fall into?
So originally when I first started writing, I was definitely a pantser because I just had never done it before. The only writing I'd ever really done is just for work, or business related, something, completely boring. And so, when I first decided to start writing and actually try to put a book together, not just something for, just because I wanted to write a couple pages here or there, I just wrote it all down and it didn't really flow well. And it was just kind of all over the place. For Leap of Faith or Nerd Rising, I have an outline for the whole series, but I'm so ADD. And so even with an outline, I'm what they would probably call more of a plantser. So it's, I know, fancy. So I've got a plan, I've got an outline, but a lot of the time, oh man, it's like I'll start writing a fight scene or some, a new creature will pop into my head and I'll be like, oh yeah, that'd be fun to write. And then I just like take it way the hell the wrong direction and I end up way off course and have to dial myself back in. I've gotten better at following an outline and kind of knowing where I want to go with things. But yeah, it's still tough, to try and stay as true to it as possible. But it is easier if you can, I guess. But maybe not as fun.
It seems like it would be more organic and just maybe you would come up with stuff that didn't exist in the plan and you're like, oh shit, I like that a lot better. Mm-hmm. Was there I suppose you couldn't tell us a major key point because you got to get the book.
Right. So as far as in Leap of Faith, there wasn't, I don't know exactly where I kind of branched off. I know some of the fight scenes I ended up changing a lot. I took a lot out. I probably took close to 30,000 words out of the first book, just because I didn't like where it was going, where it was headed.
A third of the book.
Oh my God, yeah. No, I mean, it's still, I think it still ended up like 90-something thousand words, yeah. But the problem, I think my main problem is when I start writing and I do those sprints, and so I'm getting the words down, but I've got 2 small kids, a wife, and I have a normal other day job, so it's like when I can write, it's jaded sometimes. And so I will be on a roll and have, a big portion of everything all written and I'm feeling good about it. And then I come back the next day and it's like, what the hell is this? Like, like what did I just do? And it takes a while sometimes to like get back on track and make sure that I'm not like way off course or, taking it.
That's
wherever.
Tricky because sometimes that might feel like a moment of clarity where you're realizing, oh, like what have I done? But then, I mean, those moments of, I guess, inspiration where you just go for it and you go down one of those plants, that's sometimes that can lead to really great work, I imagine.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, and it's a lot of fun when it comes together like that, where all of a sudden things just start clicking. And those are like the days where I can knock out, like 5,000-6,000 words, because it's like, oh yeah, this is good. This is great. I don't want to stop, So yeah, that's the rewarding part of it, and there's other times where I'll spend a whole day and I'll be like staring at my computer screen like a dumbass. And it's like words, like what I can't even get 500 words down, so it's it's tough. It can be tough, but yeah, it's fun though.
I can imagine. How much of yourself do you put into the book? Is there one character in the book that you're like, that's me, I'm gonna put me entirely in there and no one's gonna know? Or do you just split yourself up a little bit and put a little bit into each character?
So for Leap of Faith, I more split it up. My first series, XP Unlocked, I actually wrote for my kids,
wow.
and the main characters are actually based loosely off of my daughter and my son. Yeah, and so kind of some of their little quirks and things like that. And so, you know, I enjoy putting little bits of people I know into different characters. I think it makes them a lot more realistic. It's just, you know, some people I don't want them to necessarily be like, was that me? You know, like first book, I was like putting all like family members and friends and stuff and like making characters kind of based on them. And they're like, well, was that supposed to be me? Or, you know, so it's you know, there's a fine line there because, you know, you don't want to, you know, I don't want to deal with it, you know. It's like,
for sure.
Man, it's some pretty badass frogs in these books. I mean,
well, hey, it's actually pretty cool though that you actually have family members and friends who will read your stuff.
Right. Yeah. The first book, you know, getting them to read anything after, you know, it's like, you know, I don't think my mom's read any of my books or anything, you know, not that I don't like, I'd probably rather her not because she wouldn't know what the hell's going on, but it's like, you know, it is what it is. You know? But,
yeah. My friends and family don't listen to my audiobooks.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
Nope.
It seems like I would be strange, I think, to listen to your friend's voice.
Yeah.
Like, right in your ear telling you a story. It's just like, can't do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Too much.
I just have to, you know, just brag about my job as much as I can to get any of that satisfaction from the people that I know. Because then, and still, they're just like, yeah, whatever. Whatever. Is that a real job? I don't know.
Do you, Justin, do you listen to audiobooks? Do you listen to Lit RPG?
I do. So yeah, almost 100% Lit RPG or Game Lit or, you know, Cultivation. You know, it's been for years now. I share an Audible account with my wife, and she's always like, "What the?" She's like, "What is this? Like all your damn Game Lit books and stuff." It's like, you know, but it's before COVID and all this, I travel a lot for work, and so it was perfect. I mean, I drive through Kansas like all the time, and there's nothing out there. And so it's like, I used to listen to a lot of books just because there was nothing else to do. So yeah, so big fan of audiobooks. And actually it was listening to audio that kind of got me wanting to write and wanting to get more into it. I started with Ready Player One was kind of my loose like Game Lit introduction. Nice. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then kind of went from there, and actually Blaze's books, and then Awaken Online, and just a couple of those, you know, got me more into it and more interested, and then I just couldn't get enough, and now it's just kind of carried over, and yeah. So,
do you find, because you mentioned earlier a little bit ADD, and that you listen to audiobooks, and that's what got you into writing. Do you find you consume books better in audio than on print, or not? No, it's not the case.
Yes, like 100%.
It's
just
exactly the same with me.
Yeah, because when I'm driving, I can tune out and I can tune into the book, and it's just like, you know, it's there. I'm all in, you know. Whereas I'll read, and I love reading, but if I'm trying to read a book, like, I'll read 4 pages and like a minute later I'll be like, what the hell did I just read? Yeah. And so I'll have to go back, and it takes me forever to read printed books just because I constantly have to go back to see what I missed.
I have the same
exactly
problem.
The same.
Yep.
Same.
Yep.
That's
like
what got me into audio. Yeah, looks like we all have a common thing.
Yeah, we do. That or falling asleep.
Yes.
That or like I'm either you know, when I'm reading, I'll get an idea from the book, and then my brain will go off on that idea, and then I'll keep reading, but it's all just going through one eye and out the other. So
especially now, like that, you know, we're working in audio production of books. Like, it's like, how would I narrate that? What are the sound effects, music behind that?
Yeah. Meanwhile,
I just saw
stories passing by.
I just saw Gary's question there about the audio preference always being the case. That I used to love reading books as a kid, and I just get like lost in them or whatever. I really didn't start listening to audiobooks until we bought our house. My wife and I pretty much we finished our basement and we painted all the interior, replaced all the doors, everything else. And it was like perfect to have on in the background. And that's really how I got into it, is we just play audiobooks as we were doing our work and stuff. And it'd just be in the background. We'd just be listening together. So yeah, so it's pretty recent.
Cool. One last thing from me. If you pass through Kansas a lot, you should let me know when you're on the Missouri side. Drop by for a drink, man.
Okay. Yep. No, I'll definitely do that.
Yeah, same if you're in Texas. Although Texas is gigantic.
I'm in West Texas a lot. So.
Who's this?
Makeup is
hey,
fine.
Ramon.
Hey, everybody. Ramon. Ramon is here.
How's it going, everyone? Gurky, how you doing, man?
Hey, great.
Good to see you again.
Yep, good to see you as well. It's been a couple months.
Makeup on his
face.
Lipstick on the nose around the entire face.
Oh, yeah. I was just going to ask, Justin, what else do you have right now? I mean, we've got Leap of Faith, we've got Frog of War coming to the platform at the end of October. In the meantime, what would you recommend viewers do in order to get a taste of your writing?
I mean, definitely check out Leap of Faith. That'd be a great place to start. I am close to finishing the first draft of the third book in that series, and that will be the final book in that series, I'm thinking. So, so exciting times. And I'm working on some other stuff too, but
nice.
I'm not very organized to start a Patreon or any of that other stuff. So I will just release as I can.
Right on.
Great. Well, thanks for coming, Justin. Are you wanting to play a game with us later?
I maybe put me back in the backstage for a minute or two, and
we'll knock on your door in the green room whenever,
all right.
Whenever it's time, and if you haven't OD'd or passed out by then
drank all the Dom Perignon we keep out there.
No promises.
He's enjoying the quiet time from the kids. Yeah.
Cool. Ramon, welcome.
Hey, everybody. Jeff, everybody.
How you feeling?
Good evening.
Good. Justin Thomas James and guy whose name I can never remember.
Gary Francis
yes.
Furlong.
Gary, that's right. You got it.
There's
Gary Furlong.
Sorry.
We have three narrators that are triple named threats. Right? Gary Francis Furlong, Justin Thomas James, and Lori Catherine Winkle. You guys just assault us.
Do you not have a middle name, Jeff?
What's that?
Do you not have a middle name, Jeff?
Middle name.
I think you're the odd one out then. I mean, I have a middle name.
No, I do, but it's just not public.
Oh, okay. So you have three
attention
names.
Whores.
Jeff's middle name is
extra
Annie
names.
His middle name is Badass.
Yeah, that's right.
Jeff Badass Hayes.
It is a B.
Yeah.
It is a B. Oh yeah.
Man, Jeff, your hair's getting long.
It is.
For the rest of the show, please guess Jeff's middle name. Begins with a B.
Or come up with the best alternatives.
Who guesses it, you get a free audiobook.
Oh my God, it's like Rumpelstiltskin. Except for instead of a baby, it's a
Rumpelstiltskin.
Or gold. Yeah. Or gold. Rumpelstiltskin took the baby, didn't he?
Why did he take the baby?
Because he wanted a baby.
He kicked it.
He wanted to pass on his magic to someone as an heir, I think.
Oh,
yeah.
I see. And then the lady wanted her baby.
He gave her the power of spinning gold instead. Yeah.
I will call it out if someone guesses my name, but
I'm pretty sure Jeff has a Rumpelstiltskin voice in his back pocket just hanging out there.
Probably. I'd have to read the story again though to figure out which voice it is. It's been so long.
I suppose you could go.
Maybe we should do that on a.
There's just the goblin voice.
Someone got it. Joe Max. Okay.
Ooh.
So
Benji.
Joe Max getting free audiobooks.
Hello, Benji.
So Joe Max, you are we owe you a goddamn audiobook. So
I think you have a couple to spare.
We'll find you. We'll find you, and
we'll find you.
All right. So
you have a particular set of skills you're going to use to find him and give him an audiobook.
Exactly. We'll deliver it to his door.
It's like, I
Fuck
didn't give you
no,
my
L.
address
Jackson.
though.
So what do you have for us today, Ramon?
Me, I have just one review for actually came out last week. It was for Dungeon Crawler Carl. I think I can pull up the screenshot of it. See.
Oh
Yes.
yeah!
Yes, please
share
do.
screen.
Oh, perfect. What
See if
great
it
timing.
works.
Very
Application
great.
window.
We just did
We'll try
I don't
this.
know if you saw, Ramon, 2 weeks ago, we did a requests only for Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Yeah, there. Can you guys see that?
No.
No? Okay, there you go.
I
How about
see
that? There you go.
Oh.
See? There.
Yes,
Dungeon
baby.
Crawler Carl. There it is.
Tell us
That's a
all
weird-
about it, please.
That's a weird way to show it up, but still. Yeah, Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Jennerman. It's a great story. Genuinely funny. Almost got an 8.0 out of 10 for me, which is fairly rare. Got a 7.9 instead, just because it is a dungeon crawl. We've seen those before. But Matt Jennerman's story always bring like some great quirky weirdness and horror. I think a lot of like the weird things that he comes up with comes from his love of the horror genre, especially the Battlefield Kaiju Sergeant, which is total horror-ish adventure stuff. But he pulls in a lot of those elements of like these weird, quirky characters and sometimes some absurd violence in his stories. And I think Dungeon Crawler Carl does that as well, but to a much less gross degree than Kaiju Battlefield Sergeant. So still very interesting, very fun, but also has these darker elements. But I think the best description I could come up for the storyline was dungeon crawl combined with Hunger Games, in that they're going through these dungeons. The main character, all the 1% of humanity that survived the RPG apocalypse. But there's also like a viewer element where like people are watching them on this weird version of YouTube or whatever. And so they have viewers that are watching them. But it's done better than the Hunger Games to me because they actually get to interact with like newscasters or different television shows that are being sent out the universe, and they get to actually see the audience talking to, which is a bunch of diverse group of aliens. And so those were actually really nice breaks in that broke up the storyline and the constant action or the survival-ish elements of it. So it's a nice first entry into a series. He doesn't get too RPG-ish in this one just because it's not those elements aren't unlocked until like a certain level, like a character level they get to, and they don't hit that until like the very end of this book. But still, there's some good game elements, a good setting up of mechanics, and there's a lot of good stuff to look forward to in future elements of the book. But really fun, entertaining story.
Excellent.
Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Nice.
So we've been in talks with Matt Jennerman.
Yes.
We are talking about producing this book for him, and I'm looking forward to it. If we do actually get this contracted and in the bag, I don't know if you saw the episode I did, or we did reading it live,
Patrick
but I'm using
Warburton.
Yes, I'm using my Patrick Warburton impression to narrate with.
Who's doing the cat?
Annie.
Annie? Okay.
Yeah.
Does she have a good cat voice?
Yes.
Or she just go regular princess?
Fantastic.
Oh man,
Yeah.
her like we made a demo to send to Matt, and the very beginning when she like jumps into the tree, and then she can't get out and she just starts wailing. I had Annie do that whole part, so she's just like screaming as a cat this entire like for fucking 3 minutes of audio behind the
Meow, meow,
narration.
meow,
So
mix,
great.
meow, meow, meow. Mix. Did she like break into that song at some point?
No, she didn't. I'm sure it was tempting, but it would have been unprofessional for her to do so. So she did not do that.
No, it's a fun character once you actually get to her actually speaking.
Right.
The way Matt wrote it was very much like, oh yeah, that's exactly how a cat would sound. Entitled, princess-like syndrome. I'm like, yeah, that's a good pull. Yeah.
Completely overblown ego.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like you serve me, making him her immediate like guard and servant instead of like, oh, you're my equal. Nope, you're below me, as I'm a cat and here are cats and they're humans meant to serve. So yeah, real authentic character.
Hopefully, guys, we'll be working on this one soon. Well, that was oddly topical of you, Ramon. Thank you so much for bringing that review. Is there anything else you want to say?
No, I haven't actually got to talk to you guys in a while. So what have you guys been up to that I haven't known about in quarantine, and anything interesting?
Yeah,
Ooh.
plenty of work. We're all working on sleep debt.
You guys are taking this mandatory quarantine time to actually catch up on work and be productive members of society.
Yeah. My sleep card is almost to its limit, so I'll have to start paying that off here pretty soon. Point. But end of October is the launch, so at that point I'll be able to sleep. And I actually just planned a Colorado trip.
Oh, so are you talking about the launch of that? Have you talked about that project already? In
the platform?
The platform.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yes, this is now public knowledge. The
platform. The platform.
We are launching a platform.
Yes.
Yeah, you're launching a platform for your own audiobook sales, essentially, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're trying to be essentially a version of Audible, starting on a smaller scale, but
hey, we don't even want to get close to that scale.
You're going to be an audiobook seller.
It's a boutique.
Okay, a boutique audiobook seller.
Bespoke audiobooks.
Will you be selling other products besides Soundbooth Theater?
Artisanal.
Not at the moment, but one thing that I'm noticing is that people are starting to get more and more irritated with ACX.
Yeah.
So maybe serving the indie community.
Really?
And you're just going to offer better terms?
Yeah. Possibly. Yeah. Like we have to see how it goes. And then we have to come up with a system for making sure that we separate out, okay, these are Soundbooth Theater productions. We're Soundbooth Theater distributing these things, right? Like we're not, we didn't produce these, but we still don't want to sell anything that we don't approve of, right? Quality wise or anything like that. So
genre as well, I think.
Yeah, and we're going to have to.
Yeah, no, I think the smart player just to build up your user base beforehand so that you have something to offer other narrators and other producers of audio products before so you have something to show. Yeah, this is successful and we provide a tangible benefit to joining this team or joining this platform or producing our product here. So the first step would of course being doing your own products and showing, oh yeah, these are our sales figures. This is an actual good product that has numbers saying we're revenue positive and we can help you do the same. So you got to have the proof first. So
yeah, for sure. That's definitely what we need to do before we start publishing other people. But maybe
it's always tempting. Right? And it's always tempting to say, "Oh, that's a good idea. We can add that in now since we're starting this off." But it's like, no, you got to have a firm base first before you can start putting things on top of it.
Yeah,
Jeff, you're gonna have to do some takes of "This is Soundbooth."
Oh boy.
Yeah.
This has been a Soundbooth Theater production.
I think what we should do is go the opposite direction. Just play circus music.
Throughout the entire audiobook.
There should be like slow, creepy music at the end. Like,
yeah.
It's
the Soundbooth staple.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
But other than that, we have not made new people, which is something that you did.
That's always good. Oh yeah, you mean the kid? My kid's like a year and a half old.
Well, if you did that,
he's a year and a half old person. I don't know. I think
almost sounded like we were making expired people, at the year mark. We haven't yet.
Yeah, he had a 1 year
made
warranty.
People yet, but
like,
after audiobooks,
I'm like, I'm glad for you, Jeff, that you haven't made people yet.
How is the new person?
Like, I think you have the space for it.
Oh yeah, I have the space, but not the mentality or wisdom.
I feel like I should go visit your state and go just like rent running rooms or something.
Yeah,
you go visit or something, and whenever air travel opens up again.
You don't have to rent it. What are you talking about? Just come and stay. What are you saying?
Yes.
Give me money.
It's never nice to assume. So it's always nice to offer, even though I thought you would, but still. But yeah, kid's fine. A year and a half year old. He's walking around, talking, getting into stuff. He's signing more than talking, but yeah.
Is he rolling dice yet?
He could roll dice, but he might swallow one afterwards.
Strategic.
Yeah, he's like, that's not a 1. You didn't see that.
Yeah,
I'll poop out a natural 20.
Gotta get those ice dice.
Right.
Does he shame the dice?
I know that would train him to eat dice. I think that's the opposite effect that we want. But yeah.
What was that, Gary?
I was just making a dice shame reference.
Dice shame references are a thing now. That makes me feel good.
Yeah, congratulations on your show and showing up on the D&D page. I was like super proud. Hey, I know this guy. He's doing a good thing and he's getting recognition for it.
I
super
listened to
exciting.
the whole thing. Yeah, it's fucking great.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Yeah. Dice Shame. We just released episode 52 yesterday, so we've got a full year.
It's surprising how fast that goes if you're just putting out regular production of stuff.
It's incredible. Yeah, I can imagine. What episode of Lit RPG podcast are you at now?
Should be recording later tonight. I think it's episode 247. I think something right there. So this podcast. I have another probably 300 episodes of the other podcast as well. So I did the math. I'm like, I think I've been doing this for like 6 or 7 years now. I'm like,
wow,
really? Yeah. And it's just every week. Yeah.
Dude, I think I remember when I first came onto the scene, you were on like episode 8 or something.
247. See, there we go. That's correct.
Wow. 247. Okay. Wow. So wait, how when did you do it? When did you start accelerating how many you did?
I was doing up to 2 podcasts at once. Where I was doing the Geek Bites podcast with my friend Edgar Acosta, where we were just talking about geeky stuff on a weekly basis, and we had a smaller audience. We did that for a couple of years, and then I started getting to Lit RPG and talking about it on the show as something I was geeky about. And I noticed that those rating numbers were a lot higher, like 2 or 3 times our normal audience. So there was definitely an audience of for hearing just that content, and eventually I spun that off into its own show, the Lit RPG podcast, and that took off quite a bit more popular than the other show. And eventually, as our jobs grew different, we stopped the show, and I just focused just on the Lit RPG podcast, and eventually added the Lit RPG audio podcast as its own separate audience of just audiobook listeners. But yeah, they just once I started it on, once I noticed that there was an audience for it, why not do an extra show? It's just more recording, a little extra effort, and you can have more content every week.
Nice. Yeah.
That's been every single week. I haven't missed a single week in all these years.
Wow.
That's very impressive.
That's awesome. And what a boon to the community, honestly.
Yeah.
Just have that someone who's read so much and is able to compare in the genre, being able to create a good launching point, because there's so much Lit RPG out there now, and a lot of it's so good.
There's too much for any one person to read, so which is why I was glad to have a little bit of help from some other contributors. But even then, they've kind of fallen off a little bit. Like, oh, I don't have time to make reviews for you anymore. I was like, oh, that's too bad. Sorry.
You're like the Lit RPG librarian now.
Sort of, yeah. It's just I wish I could read even more. I just don't have the time with actually writing as an author now, and having a kid and a family, and it's like time just slips away. Like whole months seem to just go by in a flash now.
Gee, ain't it funny? Well, thank you very much, Ramon, for joining us. We're going to be getting into the next segment, but this has been our Ramon. Thank you,
I think that's our new thing, is just like
changing the names. Just getting it out. All right, see ya. All right, who's next? What do we got next? Okay, bye, Ray. Bye, Ramon. Next we got what's up on the agenda? Are we doing requests only next, or are we doing Gary's?
What do you
Gary's
guys?
Games. I think we should end with Gary's Games.
Okay.
I think we should end on a
cool.
Let's do that.
We got request poll, Mixed Martial Cultivator by Austin Beck, who is here in the audience today by a different name.
Yeah, Austin Beck. Also, Austin Beck is the secret identity of Lavelle Jackson.
Do not tell anyone.
Lavelle Jackson's the actual superhero. Austin Beck is his civilian facade.
Right.
So, this is a Cultivation Harem Gamelet. And he gave us a list of characters. So we have John LeBlanc, charismatic American MMA fighter.
That is a name.
Usual harem man swagger. Like, okay, first of all, charismatic and American MMA fighter. Like, those are not usually things you would put together.
That's true.
I think.
Why aren't they charismatic?
I don't know. Okay, Dominic Cruz. Maybe that's one of them that I can.
He is, yes.
He's got some charm, but he's more of like a professor, right? His charisma isn't necessarily like, it's like intense informational charisma. You know, like this is a person I can learn from.
I have no idea what they're talking about.
But like the real charisma guys are like George St. Pierre. Right?
GSP.
Yeah.
Such a fucking legend.
Like those guys. Those guys.
To practice my tactics and take him down in the ring.
John
by his performance. Okay, so Yitri Mizu. Yitri
Mazue.
Mazue. Oh, of course. Yeah, this is Japanese, of course. Yitri Mazue. Cat girl, soft spoken and sexy. Rhonda Jensen. Female American MMA fighter. Sounds like your usual hot chick. A little ditzy and immature, but sexy.
Sexy nevertheless.
Yes. Tasha, Kitsune girl. She is confident, no nonsense type. I'm going to make sure there's no sexy marker on this one, so she is going to be...
She's not sexy. It's clear. It's clear. She's Kitsune.
She's going to be a hag.
She might be pretty,
but so you know, well, you didn't specify. She's going to be sexy. No, she's not going to be sexy. All right, Cyclops. Enemies in this section. Sound and act like Sloth from the Goonies.
Hey, you guys!
All right. So I'm going to take all the female roles since Annie is not here with us today. So you guys fight over Chunk and John LeBrock. Chunk and Sloth. And...
I can do Cyclops if you're not feeling it, Justin.
Let's see. Well, why don't we trade? Why don't we trade at the chapter break? See what happens there.
Trade.
Do you want to be John LeBrock first or Cyclops?
I'll start.
First?
I'll start with John LeBrock. I feel like I can get into that. I can.
Get in the charismatic swagger.
American pasta.
Right,
pasta.
Okay. Who wants to narrate?
It's fun. Neither of us are American. Oh dear.
It's first person, right? Neither of us are American.
Is it first person?
Yeah.
Okay. So John LeBrock is all right. So be like whoever's going to narrate. Be as stereotypical American as you could possibly think of.
It is first person.
All right.
Tough.
No,
sure. I'll do my caricature of an American.
Yeah. Do it. Oh man, I'm excited.
Okay. All right.
Chapter 34 excerpt.
Tasha pointed between two large trees.
Large. See, you did the Canadian large.
Is there a large? How do Americans say it?
Large.
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 Tasha pointed between two large trees. I'll just do a southern accent because that's American too.
This way. If we move quickly, we can be there in 30 to 40 minutes.
She didn't wait for a response. She entered the woods rapidly. I shrugged at Yitri and Rhonda. You heard the lady. Let's go.
Yikes. She's freaking fast, and I have been neglecting my cardio lately. Shame.
Damn, you're still sexy. Rhonda replied with her plump bottom lip out. We sprinted behind the female kitsune with the wind flowing through our hair. She was a fast runner, but I was able to catch up with her quickly with my +1 speed core. The girls brought up the rear, but they weren't too far behind. I was able to run alongside her. She was surprised that I had caught up to her so quickly. She gave me a surprised look.
Which one is this? The kitsune?
I think it might be
you.
Yeah. Rock.
Oh, wait, no. I have a speed core, I added.
Yes, you do. Impressive. So do I, as a matter of fact.
We weaved through the trees as the air flowed throughout, moistening hair. I almost decapitated myself by running straight into a tree limb. I was able to duck just in time. That little mishap encouraged me to slow down a bit. I wouldn't be saving anyone if I was unconscious or dead. It would also be embarrassing to do in front of 3 beautiful women. Now, Tasha, she's not sexy, but she is beautiful, I'll tell you that much. I glanced behind to see if Yitri and Rhonda as they pressed on. Yitri didn't look winded at all, but I could tell that Rhonda was struggling a bit. I'd never been an avid runner, but that would probably change now that I had this speed core.
Okay, enough. I need you guys to fucking stop a minute.
Rhonda exclaimed, out of breath. Tasha sighed heavily but stopped. We all did and put our hands on our knees. Ooh, I was more tired than I thought. It was a good idea to take a short break. Rhonda put one hand on her hip and at the back of her other hand on her forehead.
Shit. I'll be good to go in a minute.
She began to slowly pace the forest floor.
I think that's...
No problem. That's me. Yeah. No problem. You just take some deep breaths. The Felania are strong athletes, so running comes natural in me. Oh, wait, I think I'm the human. I think this is someone else.
Oh, you... Oh, okay. So
Rhonda?
I'm going to assume it's Yitri. Yitri.
No problem. Just take some deep breaths. The Felania are strong athletes, so running comes naturally to me. You are doing great for a human. The Kitsune are also great runners. I have found most humans to be pitiful at running, but John is beginning to change my tune a bit.
Tasha said with a grin. I held up my hand. No, this is all speed core. I say we walk a bit to build out my mist reserves again. Tasha nodded.
That will be fine. We aren't far. If you look directly ahead, you see a little glow beginning to show itself. That is the campfire.
Oh my God, what voice is that? Simpsons? Oh no, it's from Family Guy. The pharmacist.
The pharmacist.
That I'm starting to get.
Oh, that guy.
Mort.
Yeah, Mort.
Oh,
I don't really know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I think Rhonda narrowed her eyes, right?
Yes.
Rhonda narrowed her eyes.
I don't see jack shit.
Yitri laughed.
The Kitsune have a very strong night vision. Our race does as well. Humans, suck.
Rhonda muttered. Everyone ready? We'll go slower since we are close. Who's to say there won't be one of those guys walking the perimeter or taking a piss? I said as I looked ahead. Yitri stepped beside me and put her hand on my shoulder.
John, let Tasha and me go in front. We can see better than you two. We won't engage if we see anything.
My need to be a man and keep this woman safe. Wanted to tell her no, but, well, I lost my place. However, she was right. It made a lot more sense for them to go first. Okay, that's me. Okay, Rhonda, and I will be right behind you, I replied with great reservation. The Felania and Kitsune nodded and pressed forward. They crouched and moved quickly. I could see their heads move side to side as they scanned the woods for danger. Their soft, bushy tails swayed back and forth. Soon they stopped in their tracks. Something had spooked them. I wondered what it was. I moved quietly until I was right between the two ladies. What's up? Yitri pointed to a figure walking about 30 yards ahead. The animal girls were right. I would have missed this danger completely. I narrowed my eyes, but I could just make out that it was a sizable humanoid. It had to be a wandering cyclops.
Are you guys gonna switch soon? Gary's.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm having a good time.
Okay.
We switching over?
Or I think it's probably coming in soon. The Cyclops.
Yeah, let's switch when the Cyclops does come in.
Okay.
Or just keep going.
Yeah, we'll go for a bit. There's a chapter break coming up too.
Yeah, cool.
Cyclops.
That works.
I can't make out what he is doing.
Yitri muttered. Just as the words left her mouth, he bent over to pick up something from the ground. Mm-hmm. Tasha broke her silence.
It's an animal carcass. He had a trap set.
The Cyclops smelled the kill and held it over his head and grunted excitedly, like this. Reminded me of the sloth character in one of my favorite films, The Goonies. You seen that one? The Cyclops placed the animal in a sack, turned back toward its camp. Sack! Shh. Hold on, guys. Wait a second. Do you see any others? I asked quietly. The girls scanned the area once more and shook their heads.
I think we should take this one out quietly while he is away from camp. Let's move closer,
Tasha said as she began to move ahead without any discussion. The Cyclops bent over to retrieve more prey from another trap. He grunted even more loudly this time.
Oh my God.
I heard a loud snap, and Tasha dropped to the ground. I heard loud gasping. She was hurt badly, but she tried desperately to hold a scream in. The Cyclops stopped abruptly after he heard the loud sound. I reached Tasha to see that she had stepped on one of the traps these monsters had set. It looked just like the bear traps he had seen on TV before. It just looked like a metal mouth with sharp teeth.
My leg! It hurts so bad.
Tasha whispered very loudly. The Cyclops turned in all directions as he tried to determine where the snap originated. These things weren't very smart, which was a win for us.
We need to get this off her.
Eitri grabbed the sides of the trap as she looked for a release. It took her a couple of moments until they heard a click and the trap was open. The Kitsune grabbed for her wound and gasped. I was impressed with her restraint, but the Cyclops was headed in this direction. Tasha's foot was almost amputated at the ankle and it was bleeding profusely. Eitri, help her! Rhonda and I are gonna take out this Cyclops. The Cyclops raised his fists in the air and screamed as he finally caught sight of our location. Ah! I closed my eyes and ignited my mist aura. Rhonda followed my lead. Blitz! I yelled as I sped behind the huge Cyclops monster. Yeah! I screamed as I slammed my open palm into his back. He screeched. It knocked him directly in a jump kick from a flying Rhonda. Her foot exploded into his chest. Ooh. The monster fell flat on his back directly in front of me. I looked down at him and his one large eye. This monster was hideous. The eye was a lot larger. The eye was as large as a cup saucer. My mist aura was reflected in his eyes. It inspected my face as well, then screamed again. It grabbed my leg, pulled it out from under me. Ooh! This caused me to lose my balance. Air left my lungs as my back fell flat on the unforgiving ground. The Cyclops screamed loud nonsense that hurt my ears.
Nonsense!
Ow! I could tell that he was trying to call out to his buddies from camp. I was sure he would be successful. The scream almost ruptured my eardrums. I somersaulted backward, stood to my feet. Hoo! Ha! Hoo! Ha! My lungs continued to starve for air as I wheezed and coughed.
Mistblade!
Rhonda screamed as she launched into the air. Her right arm exploded in pink light. It changed into a pink blade. She wasn't holding a pink blade. Her arm was the blade. She pointed the blade down and pierced the Cyclops in one of its only eye. Eye juice. Eye juice. Eye juice squirted all over the place. The wet, sticky sound. I don't know what else to call it, actually, guy. Like, what else do you call it? It's eye juice.
It's the vitreous and aqueous humor.
It's like egg white.
Egg white? Ooh, I always pictured it being black.
Really?
Eye juice?
Eye juice?
Yeah,
Black?
eye juice. I thought so.
Eye
Anyways.
liquor.
No
The
idea.
wet, sticky sound the eye made was stomach churning. This is what it sounded like from Jeff.
So gross.
Holy shit! I didn't know you could do that! I said with my eyes wide.
Oh, you missed a whole paragraph, man.
Oh shit! Oh, sorry.
So gross.
Rhonda said as she extracted her blade arm from the eye socket. Blood and other disgusting liquids dropped to the ground. She flicked the blade in an attempt to remove as much gore as she could. Suddenly, her blade arm changed back to a regular arm. Holy shit! I didn't know you could do that! I said with my eyes wide.
I am sure there are a lot of things you don't know about me.
Rhonda pinched my butt cheek and smiled as she walked back to Tasha. I knelt beside Yitri. Are you able to heal the wound?
I have stopped the bleeding and helped her with pain management, but there isn't a lot I can do out here. I will be able to do more back in Red Reach in a proper environment. She will need to be either carried out, or two of us can give her support on both sides as she jumps on her good foot.
I nodded. Okay, that settles it. You and Rhonda, take Tasha back to town. Now. Rhonda gasped.
Fuck that, John. I am not leaving you out here to deal with these things. Just get that thought out of your pretty little head.
Tasha held her free hand up.
Guys, I can go with Yitri alone. I can jump one leg with my arm wrapped around her. We'll manage fine.
Added Yitri. All right, do we have let's do a cast switch up here.
Yes.
I will, I'll be, so Gary will now be,
Brock,
what's his face?
Everman. What's his name? John
LeBrock.
John LeBrock. Yeah, and then I'll be whatever monsters come in.
I'm surprised he went with French.
LeBrock.
It sounds a little wussy for this character, but
LeBrock. I'm the Brock. Not just Brock.
Yep.
The Brock.
Lost my place. Oh no!
I'm having a blast, by the way.
Really
this is a lot of fun, Lavelle.
Yeah.
Can we witness that joke one more time? Gary Simmons joke there.
It's too good. That's too good.
All right,
Gary Simmons, everybody.
Okay, so
Okay. All right, we good to go?
indeed, we need him for president. Okay, who am I again?
You're all the ladies.
I'm still the late. Okay, so you guys are the only ones switching. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I locked eyes with Rhonda and smiled. Hey, I'm subverting expectations. I'm really strong.
Yeah,
Yes.
keep
Yes.
going. This is brilliant.
It's Rhonda. You're smiling and talking, I believe.
No, I think you're talking.
Are you ready for this? There will be quite a few of these things. Rhonda rolled her eyes.
I can do this just fine. I recall saving your ass earlier. Have you forgotten that, Mr. MMA?
Oh, I narrowed my eyes and shook my head. All right, I can tell that getting you to leave will be a battle I don't have any shot of winning.
Yep.
She chirped the cheek as she gave me a quick kiss on my lips. Me?
Thank you for trying, though.
Well, the kiss took me off guard, but I didn't mind one bit. This girl was beautiful and an ass kicker.
So, what's the plan? The screaming from that nasty dude back there probably got the others' attention.
That was my guess, too, but I haven't heard any sounds coming from the direction since then. I'm not a big planner. I'm hoping that several of them are congregated in the middle of the camp.
Do we really want a bunch of them together? That seems kind of not a good idea.
I learned a new technique that can surely F people up 10 yards around me. I haven't practiced it a great deal, but I think I have the timing down. We'll fucking see so anyway.
I'm on board. Lead the way, Mr. LeBrock.
After I glanced back at Yitri helping Tasha back to Red Peach, I motioned for Rhonda to follow me towards the Cyclops camp.
Rhonda.
Let's get as close as we can before we decide on an attack, okay, guys? Keep your guys peeled for traps and such. I whispered that.
Good plan.
Surprisingly enough, it didn't look like any of the other Cyclopses became suspicious of the missing one or the loud sounds he had made. Is this me?
Sorry. I think that's still you.
No, let's walk the perimeter, get a better look at the layout of the camp. We need to see where the kitsune are as well. Rhonda raised an eyebrow.
You know, you are kind of hot when you're in charge and leading and stuff.
I chuckled. Thanks, I guess. We spent the next half hour laying low and constructing a plan. We saw one of the kitsune women in a 6x6 bamboo-looking cage. The other cage was empty. We assumed that the other woman was in the cave with the Alpha Cyclops. Seven large dudes were walking around the center of the camp. We had yet to see the Alpha come out of the cave. They were all roughly the same size, give or take an inch or two. They were strong, but they were so slow and dumb. If Rhonda and I stayed focused, we shouldn't have a great deal of trouble. The kitsune laid in the fetal position in the cage. There wasn't much room to do much else. It had to be torture being in something that small. We had to get her out of that thing. A lot of grunting erupted by the campfire. Well, we glanced over and saw they were preparing some dinner. All right, let's make our way to the cage and let her out. Then we go to the cave to find the other. I am worried if we start killing everyone out there, the alpha will kill the kitsune he has with him.
I like that plan.
Rhonda patted me on the shoulder. You release her and I'll cover you. Tell her to haul bottom back to Red Peach. Rhonda nodded.
Got it. We need to get going before they are done with their food.
She began crouch walking in the direction of the cage. I moved alongside her as I looked at the camp center. I heard Rhonda mutter the words,
Mistblade.
Then a quick swipe. She opened the door and helped the kitsune to her feet. The kitsune promptly embraced her. Rhonda whispered something into the woman prisoner's ear. She nodded and began to move toward the spot we had just departed from. Rhonda came to me afterward.
I told her to get back to Red Reach as soon as she could. She was weak and malnourished. I don't think she's going to move that fast. She's fucked up mentally and physically. I don't know what we're going to find in that cave.
I've been reading that as Red Peach. I didn't see that was an R. Oh, dear. The cave entrance had a torch over the top, which made the opening look like a demon's eye. Well, let's go. We don't have much time. I began to approach, and Rhonda followed. As we reached the entrance, grunts and moans echoed from deep within. The cavern corridor was never empty. Oh, as we moved deeper, the grunts and moans, well, they just grew louder. The good thing about the Alpha being this deep is that his comrades won't know when we kill him, huh? We reached the door to the glowing chamber and looked inside without bringing attention to ourselves. My heart dropped and I felt my stomach contents rise. Rhonda turned her head away and moved back in the corridor. On the far side of the chamber, the kitsune lay lifeless on her back on a table. Her wrists and ankles were tied to this table. The Cyclops stood at the table with his back turned toward us. He had a weapon and it looked like a butcher's cleaver, and he was hacking at her corpse. Oh my goodness! Oh God! Oh God! Oh! Well, let me tell you right now, the blood dripped from the table onto the floor. I mean, the carnage had created a massive pool. I mean, you could swim in that shit. I backed against the wall and looked at Rhonda, who was shaken by the gruesome scene. Stay here. I will take care of him.
Fuck no. I want a piece of this butchering asshole.
She whispered as her teeth gnashed and her fists clenched. I nodded and closed my eyes. I charged my limbs with extreme efficiency and speed. Blitz! I yelled as I entered the room. The Cyclops turned around just in time to receive a fist in his throat. Grabbed his neck with both hands and fell backwards into the table, knocking it over on its side with the kitsune still attached.
Ouch.
Oh my goodness. After the table slammed onto the granite floor, her intestines, they splashed onto the floor and dark blood began to pool. I wasn't sure if he had hacked her up for food or just because he was a sadistic monster. Rhonda did a quick jump with her mist blade arm and brought it toward his eye.
Hey!
He rolled away just in time, and Rhonda's mist blade, that went through the table and plunged into the corpse of the mutilated kitsune.
Fuck! I'm sorry!
He threw that cleaver toward Rhonda. It flipped end over end. She ducked, but the blade did graze her shoulder, leaving a bloody seeping wound.
Shit!
She screamed.
You freaking asshole!
Then I sidekicked the Alpha in the side of his head, knocking blood and teeth onto the stone wall. I followed the attack with a spinning heel kick to the back of his head. The Cyclops' large eyeball popped out of his head and dangled by the optic nerve. A scream that would wake the dead erupted from deep within the maniac.
Disgusting! Oh my God!
Goodness gracious, exclaimed Rhonda. The Alpha, he grabbed the dangling eyeball and he proceeded to pop it back in. I just stood there in awe as the big monster stood to his feet. While he forced the large eyeball back into the bloody socket, he ripped the side of the large orb. Green liquid streamed down the side of his face. He turned to me, and he raised his fists in the air. He shook them while he grunted viciously. You know, he was much taller than I originally thought. He towered over me. The gruesome eye juice ran down his chest and glistened in the torchlight.
Yeah!
Rhonda screamed, and she spun clockwise and executed a perfect leg sweep. The Alpha slammed onto his back, causing the floor under our feet to vibrate. Well, I tell you, I wasted no time as I axe kicked him in the face, busting his damaged eye completely.
Damn it, John! You got that goo on my leg! Fuck my life!
The Alpha, he frantically covered the gaping wound. Blood mixed with green liquid seeped through his fingers. The rancid liquid had spilled into his mouth, which caused a disgusting gurgle, not to mention the stink of the liquids.
Mist blade!
Rhonda conjured her arm blade and slit the Cyclops' throat in a split second.
Die already!
Rhonda gagged as the monster bled out. You assisted in kill of elite Cyclops. You received partial mist from the kill. You have received 250 mist energy. Rhonda stood at the dead body of the Kitsune.
I hate for the Kitsune to see her butchered body. I just hope she died quickly before this cunt began cutting her up.
Well, I found the leather blanket and covered that salty language and the Kitsune, Yoshi.
Blang.
Oh shit, it's me. I apologize. All right, let's finish this and get back, I growled. Rhonda embraced me warmly.
I'm glad they brought you from Earth. You are awesome.
Well, you're pretty awesome yourself. I murmured as I put my thumb and index finger on her chin and I lifted it. I kissed her softly for a few seconds and pulled away. She smiled and placed her head on my chest. Shit, how's your shoulder? Are you going to be okay? I asked as I looked at the bloody laceration. It's me! Rhonda looked at her bloody shoulder and sighed.
Yeah, I think so. I have an ointment that I will shove into the wound that should stop the bleeding. You three can patch it up in Red Reach. Let's kill these bastards!
Fuck yeah!
Fuck yes! We did it, guys. So,
yes.
I did not know that you had that voice, Gary. We need it
Didn't
all the
either
time.
until it kind of came out.
Every book.
Every book, that guy
just
needs to star.
The reactions to everything he's saying. Yeah. Oh, that's great. Golden.
It's such a,
Very good.
between all of us, we've got such interesting ways of reading books. Can you imagine an entire book in either of those narrators' voices?
Oh, God.
Like,
I can
the real-
imagine killing myself.
My favorite thing in the whole thing was like, blah, blah,
Like
blah,
now?
moistening hair.
The moistening hair. Well, I was very satisfied reading eye juices. That's a very satisfying thing to say. It's like texture for the mouth. It's really quite nice.
Yeah.
Eye juices.
Eye juices.
Hashtag
All right, well,
eye juices.
we got one more tiny segment for you guys.
Yeah.
We're
Sure
going
do.
to do Gary's Games. Tell us what's up, Gary.
This, I believe, is a game where we are going to be reading AI created text. So a story, a very short story created by AI. We probably have enough time just to do one short one each, do you think? Or is that how do we want to do it similar to this where we'll like, I don't know how we want to do it. Jeff, do you have it on your screen or do you need me?
I do have it on my screen. So how are we going to do this? Okay, so I think we should each do one.
Yeah.
We'll
okay.
get suggestions from the audience in which voices. So audience
Great.
members, you say which narrator and what kind of voice you want to hear. And we will generate this shit. Ahmed, are you ready
Excellent.
to share my screen here?
Here we go. Okay.
You guys will have to read the comments. I can't see them because
Yeah,
all I have is the
okay.
screen.
Keeping an eye. I have.
All right.
All right.
So this is a sample. This is just to show you guys how this program works. This is very good. There's so much to do with the story. The thing is, there are so many different stories that you can tell every day, and that
and that is really great. But at a certain point, you just look at the data and say to yourself, wow, this is great. I can do it here, but I have to keep working. I have a lot to do to get here. You start to believe in things that are simple, so much more complex. And then you get very deep into it, and you get very deep into it, and it's just amazing. I guess this is something that you could ask for your wife. So it's
a weird one.
Rambles.
Yeah,
it's
just
rambling. It just creates a ramble.
We have a Butters voice, but as Felix, and we have a Speak and Spell voice. We have 2 of those recommendations.
What is Speak and Spell voice?
I think Microsoft Sam Robotic is shit. Or I don't know actually. Was that a thing over here? Speak and Spell?
Oh yeah,
like a weird voice.
Yeah. Well, it was like you know how video games, the handheld ones, used to be like standalone machines, and there wasn't even graphics, right? They were like black cutouts that would light up or whatever.
Yes.
So it was that era, maybe even earlier. But the Speak and Spell would be like, it would say a word, and then you were supposed to type it out. I think I can't remember how it worked because I never had one. But
it's like a little.
The commercials were everywhere. But yeah, and it sounded kind of like this, except even shittier. It sounded so shit. It was amazing. Yeah. So what else
we got? Speak and Spell. We got Butters, but as Felix, like Felix the cat. Butters. Can anyone do a Butters voice?
Yeah, I can do one. It's not quite there. I think this is it.
Yeah.
Yeah, here it is. This is very good. There is so much to do with the story. The thing is, there are so many different stories that you can tell every day.
So we can generate. Is Butters one of our? We're gonna take it.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Butters. All right, I'm gonna start a new one. Generating.
That's why I wrote a book. One of the things that struck me was that we were trying to say that what I call self-love really is about a whole range of people. That's why I wanted to do a book, which is to talk about the self. In the end, I didn't want to do any book I never even knew existed. I went back to my friends and said, why don't I go back to my parents' house used to talk to... Why don't I go back to how my parents used to talk about you? And it wasn't until after writing those books that I realized what I had done. Why is this important? The thing about love is that a lot of people in marriage are afraid that they will be loved when they marry. In my experience, they are always afraid of what will happen to them because they will never get married. And they know what they want, and they are going to get what they have in life, whether it's marriage or divorce or any other decision. But in fact, what I want to tell you is that this is not the sort of thing that will give them a break because they don't feel as if they have the freedom to do what they want in life or who they want to marry. If you want to have a long life and to be a good person, you don't want to be the kind of person who will never give up. And this isn't the thing that I'm going to give you.
Whoa.
That's profound.
Okay. So this is a crazy story generator that I kind of like the other one that you guys suggested a little bit better, but we'll keep going on this. Okay, so what's the next
Maybe
what's the next
we'll play
voice?
That next time. Next voice. People.
What do we got? We got robotic voice. We got the see and say, or speak and spell. We need more voices. Give us some more voice suggestions. Let's hear that in the chat.
And who's next?
Ahmed, if you've got any voice suggestions, Gary, why don't you take the next one?
I'll go next.
And we'll whatever the voice that comes up.
What's up that we haven't done is the speak and spell, which I'm not very familiar with, and a robotic voice. So we don't get a
the guy from before.
Klingon.
Ahmed says the guy from before.
Everyone just wants to hear that guy narrate everything.
Yeah.
I think Gary Simmons called it. It was, I think my voice was just a high-pitched Butters, like, ah!
Yeah.
Was it Butters?
I don't know. A dragon voice? Darth Vader. Oh, man, if only I had such depth to my voice. I can't do it. You got a deep voice, Justin, if you want to do Darth Vader.
I could try Darth Vader.
Jeff as Snack or Boxy. We can do the... Hold on.
Here's the story. Here's the story. I remember it well. I was standing at the bar.
Oh, is that like putting you off?
No, not at all. Not at all. Should I? Oh, am I taking the next one?
Fuck.
I forgot.
Oh yeah. Do you want to take the next one or shall I?
Sure. I'll jump on I'll jump on as James Earl.
Yeah.
I'll try
I'm going to be your respirator in the background.
I might just turn into Mufasa with a respirator.
That's fine. It's the same thing.
At least it would have kept him alive. Spoilers.
Oh.
Okay, here we go. All right. Here's the story. I remember it well. I was standing at the bar of my hotel, and a girl walked by me and asked her where I work or what I am doing in my career. I thought she should ask what is the job, and she immediately said, "My name is Michael. I'm a professional, a writer, a filmmaker. I work in this field to help my community, to give them the opportunity for growth. I think it's absolutely great to be able to tell stories here and bring that passion to the world." And they did. I am so lucky to have had the opportunity and to be such a part of it. As a child, I saw a lot of things that I didn't know about. Film, and what I didn't understand. to be a filmmaker. People talking about getting paid to do this. Or just about how lucky I am to be doing something you love. I remember this. And the people around me who have seen so many of my work in the media. And seen so many of my friends. They would say, "Hey guys, the first thing you want to know there is this." That is what I thought. That's what I thought about it.
It's like Darth Vader's slam poetry.
And now, that's what I am doing with my film work. It's a wonderful opportunity to help people see the world and see the ways in which there is an opportunity for growth through storytelling and working with the...
Perfect. That was a very good Darth Vader slam poetry.
Thank you.
All right, do we have more suggestions yet in the chat?
Let me see. Tinkerbell voice, Sam Jackson voice, author, what? Oh, no, that's different. Dragon voice, Klingon.
I like Sam. Can you do a Sam Jackson, Gary?
Not a great one. I think people just shout like ah. Have you ever seen the Dave Chappelle skit, the Sam Jackson beer?
No.
It's real old. It's like based on Sam Adams. He's like, "It's my beer, motherfucker." It's very funny. I could try, but I mean, just be shouting. I think Ahmed says, "Please one more." I don't know what that means.
Yeah, he wants another. Yeah, up to you. We got Stewie. We got.
Can you do Stewie?
Stewie Griffin. I'll give it a go. Is there a story?
Let's go.
He did apparently was an impression of Rex Harrison. Okay. I remember going to my favorite place, one of the many great places in America, and sitting in the same room and talking to my brother. He came up to me and told me, "Can I tell you some stories?" And I said, "I really want to. I really want to." And we started talking, and he said, "Why don't you do that? Tell me, you see what I saw and see what I didn't see." And that's when I started telling stories, Brian. I began telling stories. The first thing I said to my brother during that time, I said, "Tell me which one told you the story." And he said, well, that one said, I did see your dad with the baseball bat. With a baseball bat. I told my brother how I had seen my dad. I said, I don't want to tell you another story about my dad. Sorry. Where am I going? I was telling you a story about my dad, and I don't want to tell you what happened to the baseball. These are fucked up. I'll do that again. I said, I don't want to tell you another story about my dad, and I don't want to tell you what happened to the baseball bat. So that was one of the first things I did tell him. And I went back and told my brother's story, and he said, well, you've got to tell me what happened to the baseball bat. So that was a big...
This is like if Stewie were drunk at a party and telling.
So that was a big moment for me personally, and it's been a great experience for him and his family personally. He's gone through that. He's been through this, and he's pretty amazing. The thing that was particularly difficult for him was that's
all right.
Crazy. They got more nonsensical as they went on.
Oh my god, that's
stop screen. Okay.
Wow.
Well, Gary got.
Well, we lost Gary.
No.
That's so good. That is correct. That is tear-inducing.
My face.
Oh my god, this is like such like lip service. This is like the basketball. Like after like a reporter goes to a basketball player after a game and is like, "Hey, so tell me about the way you played."
Oh yeah.
Well, we just wanted to try and work together as a team. Give 110%, and yeah. But tell me about that play. Like, what you guys did there? Yeah, we're just trying to give 110%, and
Those guys in that locker room
talking
at
in
the end
circles.
Of the day,
yeah, at the end of the day, we're all just
Trust
coming here.
those
We're gonna
guys.
try to make a win.
All right. Well, I think we need to maybe invest in the other story generator because that one just kind of repeats the same thing
It
over and over.
rambles.
And the
But it
other
was
one
pretty
that you
freaking
showed,
funny.
it could get funny,
personally
but we can't like
personally.
get a lot of mileage out of it,
Right.
if
So
it's
maybe-
gonna keep, just it'll descend into madness.
We'll try, I'll look at the
sure
other
did.
one. I'll see if it's worth it.
Cool.
But that is our show for today. That is all of our segments. Thank you guys so much for
Thank you.
sticking it out through to the
Yes.
end. We do need to reduce our requests only
Yes.
limit. I think that one was
length.
probably 3,000 words, which is what the limit was
used to be.
a long time ago. But our segments are shorter now, so I think maybe we need to go down to 1,500. So we'll try and put that into the next post to make sure that everyone knows the new rule. But thank you guys for coming and watching us, for being our audience. I hope you guys had a good time, and like the video, subscribe to the channel, go check out our website, man. It looks awesome.
Big thanks to Justin Grelke for hanging out with us today too.
Absolutely.
100%. Yes, Justin Grolke.
Who come hang
And
out
of course, Austin Beck, Lavelle Jackson, thank you for your requests only submission.
Yes.
That was a lot of fun. Yeah, all of our guests. And Gary Furlong, of course,
Yes.
for that amazing Anura Rising, Darkness Falls.
Oh yeah, it's
Incredible.
Yeah,
Justin
so
Grelke.
that's our show. Thank you guys again, and everyone have a good one. I'll go ahead and close the show by continuing to read off the story generator as Boxy.
Yeah.
All right.
Just as when you're in high school, you see the big picture and you try to make sense out of it. And one day you think, what's the big picture here? What's the big picture around here?
Uh-huh.
The big picture doesn't look like the picture you see on the screen in high school. It's an ugly little word.
Oh, no.
When I first took my first class, I was going to have a couple of class assignments. But then after a couple years, I came home with an ugly little picture of what it really looked like inside my bedroom. Friend.
Oh dear.
Well, that's how it turned out. It was really ugly, but it felt pretty good. Now,
Good.
I think it has changed a lot. In fact,
yeah?
I would suggest you consider it as an expression of respect. That's
Alright.
what I'm using in the classroom because I'm sure you'll see that more and more people are learning in the classroom, not just in the classroom.
That's deep.
So true. So true.
We're learning to be sensitive to this world. We're learning to care about our environment.
Mm-hmm.
Photo by